Hello, I'm Shukla Choudhury and welcome to my online class. Today we are going to discuss understanding poetry. Poetry, once upon a time, was associated with pleasure. The poet used to give vent to his feelings, and his audience and his readers used to share his feelings. The poet and his audience, the poet and his readers, they used to cry, they used to smile, they used to laugh together. But no more. Times have changed. These days, poetry is more concerned with the students' syllabus, classroom, teachers, researchers, and things like that. But understanding poetry is very important, especially these days when it's concerned with the future of the students and the examinations. Now, while understanding poetry, it's not necessary that we should define poetry, because poetry is a feeling, it's an experience, it's abstract, and it's not possible to define it. But one needs to keep certain important things in mind while understanding poetry. First of all, a poetry is not a philosophical truth. There's nowhere it's written that a poetry should have certain philosophical truth or historical facts. Now, if someone is looking for any philosophical or any moral conduct or moral message, then one should go for ethics, moral lesson stories, scriptures, and so on, but not poetry. Because poetry is basically an enlargement of experience, and good poem never says that we are here to give you or pass on some historical informations or any philosophical truth or moral lessons. Now, if the reader or the audience can take up or follow or take up some moral lessons from the poem, then that's totally his concern, not the poet's. Because poetry necessarily means a part of life. Every poem has its own life. It's a piece of experience of the poet. And when the poet writes the poem, it becomes the part of experience of mankind. A good poem influences its audience and its readers consciously or subconsciously. The reader or the audience is bound to get affected by a good poem. It becomes then his part of experience. Now, the next important thing about understanding poetry is its content and form. Now, what's content? Content is the subject matter of that poem or that subject or those things which the poet wants to communicate. And the way he communicates forms the form. So content and form, they go together. While examining or interpreting a poem, it's very important that we understand that content and form, they go hand in hand, and they are always together because the form decides the content and the content decides the form. Another important thing while understanding poetry is the I factor. So many times people confuse the I factor with the poet. Actually, the poet has to create a persona to communicate his feelings, which is the content. That means the feelings which he has experienced, when he wants to communicate it, that's the content, and to pass that content to his readers or audience, he needs a persona. Now, that persona may be a narrator or the speaker or the poet, whoever it is, but it's wrong to assume that The poet is always the I factor. In fact, he's not. So many times he's just the speaker, the I is just the speaker, the I is the narrator, or sometimes the poet, but so many times it's even the group also. So let's clear the I factor. So, it's wrong to identify the I with the poet. I is not always the poet. For instance, the speaker in the poem We Are the Music Makers by O. Shaughnessy, which is now there in the ISC syllabus, is the collective voice of the artist. The language of poetry is mostly figurative. The poet uses figure of speech for expression. It's important to understand the figure of speech in order to understand the beauty of the poem. We will discuss about figure of speech in our next video. But for now, it's important to know that the necessity of figure of speech is that unlike a prose, a poetic expression is not direct. It's mostly implicit or oblique. Imagery is an essential part of poetry. It means an object or an experience that has the quality of sense of perception. Images can be visual, auditory, tactical, olfactory, gustatory, kinesthetic, or thermal. For example, the sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair. This visual image from Dover Beach explains what I mean. At once a voice arose among the bleak twigs overhead. These lines from Darkling Thrush is auditory image, and then you understand what I mean. So, that's all for today. We will talk about poetry and its figure of speech in our next class. Thank you.